The average American carrying credit card debt owes $6,501. That balance quietly costs over $1,300 a year in interest before they buy a single new thing. Now picture two people who work in the same office, same job title, same paycheck. And right now, the same $6,501 balance sitting on the same kind of card. One of them will be completely debt-free in 3 years and will never hand the bank a dollar of interest again. The other will still be making payments in 2032 and will pay nearly $4,000 in interest along the way. Same income, same starting debt. The only difference between them is a single habit. And by the end of this video, you will know exactly what that habit is, why it works, and how to copy it starting tonight. Let me be clear about something up front. Credit cards are not the problem. How most people use them is. So let me show you what our first guy, Drake, does, because it is what most people do, and it feels completely normal. Drake swipes for everything: groceries, gas, dinner out, a new pair of shoes he saw online at 11 at night. Then the statement arrives. And Drake does what feels responsible. He pays the minimum. Here is why that feels safe and why it is the most expensive habit in personal finance. Drake carries that $6,501 balance at a 21% annual interest rate, which is right around the US average today. 21%. That works out to about $365 in interest every single year. Money he earned at his job handed straight to the bank for the privilege of carrying a balance. Now here's the part the credit card company never explains. The minimum payment is not designed to get you out of debt. It is designed to keep you paying as long as possible. On a $6,501 balance, the minimum is around $130 a month. But watch what that $130 actually does. In the first month, roughly $114 of it goes straight to interest. Only about $16 actually reduces what Drake owes. So he pays $130, real money, gone, and his balance barely moves. Think about that. He could make that payment faithfully, on time, every month, and feel responsible doing it. And a year later, he has paid over $1,500 and knocked almost nothing off the actual debt. That is the treadmill. You are running hard, you are sweating, and the scenery never changes. At the minimum-only pace, it takes Drake more than 6 years to clear that balance. And over those 6 years, he pays close to $4,000 in interest, more than half the original debt, again, just in interest. Drake does not see any of this. He sees a $130 line item and thinks, that's manageable. And it is manageable. That is exactly the trap. The payment is small enough to live with forever, which is the whole point. Now, this is the moment a lot of people stop me. But, Hazel, I get points. Cashback, travel miles. I'm actually winning. I hear it constantly. So let me walk through it honestly, because rewards are real, but the math is not what people think. A strong rewards card pays you about 2% back on what you spend. The interest you pay for carrying a balance is 21%. So you are earning 2 and paying 21. You are not beating the credit card company at their own game. You are funding the game. Let me put real numbers on it. Say Drake spends $20,000 on his card over a year and earns 2% back. That is $400 in rewards. Nice, but he is also carrying that $6,501 balance and paying $1,365 in interest. So his rewards cost him nearly $1,000 net. He did not earn $400. He paid $965 to receive $400 in points. The companies are not generous. They offer points precisely because the interest more than pays for them. Here is the rule that cuts through all of it. Rewards are only free if you pay your full balance every single month. The moment you carry a balance, those points become a coupon stapled to one of the most expensive loans you can get. Drake chases points on a card he never fully pays off. He thinks he is being clever. He is being marketed to, and the marketing is working perfectly. So let me show you the other guy. Daniel, same office, same salary, same kind of card. Daniel uses a completely different system, and it is not complicated. He has one credit card, just one. He uses it only for things that are already in his budget, things he was going to buy anyway. And every single month, without exception, he pays the full balance. Which means Daniel pays exactly $0 in interest. He still earns the rewards. he still builds his credit score. He still gets the fraud protection and the purchase protection. He just never gives the bank a single cent in interest. Here is the one rule Daniel lives by. If he cannot afford it in cash, he cannot afford it on credit. The card is just a tool he uses to pay for things he could already pay for. And it turns out Daniel is part of a much bigger shift happening across the country. Credit card usage in the US dropped from 42% of transactions in 2021 to 39% in 2026. And Gen Z led the way, dropping from 27% down to 20%. More Americans are choosing debit. More are choosing to spend only money they actually have. That is not random. It is a generation that watched their parents drown in credit card debt and quietly decided, not me. Now let me bring this back to Drake, because here is the hopeful part. Drake does not need a raise to escape. He needs one change. Say he stops paying just the minimum and instead pays $200 a month. Same balance, same income, just $70 more a month than he was already paying. He goes from over 6 years down to 36 months. 3 years. Done, and he saves more than $2,800 in interest in the process. $2,800 for the price of one decision he makes once and then automates. The math is not complicated. The math is actually simple. It is the behavior that is hard, and behavior is something you can change tonight. So here is exactly what to do. 4 steps. You can start all of them this week. Step 1. Look up your real balance and your real interest rate tonight. Not a guess. The exact numbers. Open the app, find the APR, write it down. Most people avoid this because the number feels uncomfortable, but you cannot fix what you refuse to look at. Do not be most people. Step 2. Pay at least double the required minimum every month. Remember why this works. Almost every extra dollar above the minimum goes straight to the balance, not the interest. Even an extra $50 a month meaningfully shortens your payoff. An extra $70 like Drake can cut years off. And if you have more than one card, throw every extra dollar at the highest rate card first while paying minimums on the rest. That is the avalanche method, and it saves you the most money mathematically. Step 3. Remove your card from autofill on every shopping site. Amazon, the food apps, the one-click checkouts. Delete the saved card. Friction reduces impulse spending. When you have to get up and find your wallet, half the impulse buys never happen. Make it harder, not easier. Step 4. If you can cover the full balance, set it to autopay in full. That one switch turns your card from a debt machine into a rewards tool, automatically, every month, without willpower. Credit cards are a tool. Used carelessly, they cost you thousands. Used correctly, they build credit and pay you to spend. Daniel knows the difference. And now, so do you. This video is for educational purposes only and is not personalized financial advice. If this helped you, subscribe. We post every single day. Next, watch our video on how to pay off debt using the avalanche method. It pairs perfectly with what you just learned. See you tomorrow.